Chips Clips.
Alrighty, boob tubes, another one of Kip's Clips. So, what's a wong with a hong a kong? You may have seen all the protests, riots, so on and so forth, all the palaver that's going on over in Hong Kong. So, what's wrong with Hong Kong? Well, it's interesting to look at the history of Hong Kong and then use the history of Hong Kong in the context of what's actually going on internally in that country right now. And I would argue that what you're witnessing in Hong Kong just now is a continuation of a struggle between the corporate interests of the West and China for this area of land. I know it was meant to have been handed back in 1997, I think it was, but there was all sorts of conditions, so on and so forth. So to try and prevent China from establishing full authority there, let's just say. So I believe it's like you've heard of soft power, British Empire, and its decline would arguably use a lot of soft power and stuff. So what I believe is wrong with Hong Kong is that, again, it's a long battle between East and West for control of this area of the world. So let's see what's happening now. But just have a look at now. These are all, I touched on these the other day as well. I believe a lot of these struggles and wars and all the Illuminati deep state conspiracies and politicians dragging you one way or the other, a lot of it's very economically driven. And at the moment, I would argue the UK and US, they were sitting pretty with a special relationship in 2014. And the corporate interests, the money behind the money behind the power in the UK and the United States, they would be aware of these predictions of China becoming the largest economy by 2050, and they would be doing everything they possibly can to make sure that that doesn't happen. If power lies where the money is, and I think that's arguably true, then by 2050 China will be the most powerful country in the world. Whereas at the 2014, it was the United States and put their little bedfellow, the UK, on top of that as well. So it's a lot of stuff that we're seeing worldwide and all the political shenanigans and stuff. I believe it's economically driven, and money men are trying to get their agenda served to stop China in its tracks and becoming an economic superpower in the world. So, if you don't know the history of Hong Kong, it was fought. How this became British territories was after the first Opium War. Hold on, actually, might as well just read it. Hong Kong became a colony of the British Empire after the Qing China ceded Hong Kong Island at the end of the First Opium War. The colony expanded to the Kowloon Peninsula in 1860 after the Second Opium War, and was further extended when Britain obtained a 99-year lease for the new territories in 1898. Now, it sounds strange, a 99-year lease. This was a mistake by the British, let's say. Here in the UK, there's a standard if you're leasing out a property long term or leasing out anything long term. A 99-year lease is the idea is it's meant to be indefinite, if that makes sense. But when Britain signed the 99-year lease, they certainly didn't expect to have to hand back these territories at the end of the 99 years. And I don't think the entities behind Hong Kong, the corporate interests in Hong Kong and stuff, won't had any interest in handing it back to China. So The territory was transferred to China in 1997, a special administration region, so on and so forth. Now, as it said there, it was the first Opium War, and when Britain established a colony there. If you don't know about the Opium Wars, go and check it out, interesting part of history. But what I'd like to point out here as well is this was commercially driven back then. Opium. It was commercially driven back then, and although it was technically the UK, it was the East India Company that was fighting this. Now, interesting thing, if you go and look at the British East India Company, flag look familiar to anybody? Look familiar? Look familiar? Pretty much the United States flag, isn't it? I mean, just the corner changed. But that's just a coincidence as well, you know. So, the corporate interests which grabbed hold of Hong Kong aren't willing to hand that over to China, and there's a struggle. So I believe this is a continuation of the British corporate interests that controlled that territory, now using their soft power any way they can to make sure to try and stop China completely taking control of that territory and getting full control of it. So what's a Wong with a Hong a Kong? Well, it's kind of a continuation of the Opium Wars, economically driven. It's a prize piece of real estate, one of the largest financial centres in the world, so on and so forth. And the money men behind the rise of Hong Kong weren't quite ready just to hand it back to China after the 99-year lease. So hopefully that'll spark some people's interests into looking into what's really going on here in Hong Kong. It's a continuation of the struggle between the British and American corporate interests and China. And this is results in all those riots and stuff that we're witnessing to try and make sure that the West doesn't lose complete control of China. So I think that's it about it. That's all I wanted to share. So thumbs it up, share it on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, all the good stuff. Leave all your comments, the good, the bad, ugly and indifferent. I will read and respond to as many as I can. And remember, what I do here is digital basket. It's all available and accessible free of charge. I hope to do such a good job you'll find value in what I do and use your spare change, not your life savings, on the Patreon and PayPal buttons down below. Mega thanks to everybody that does. Alrighty, boob tubes, thanks for listening. Catch you.
Cips clip.